안녕하세요. Hi, everyone.
안녕하세요.
Hi, so this is Ariel, and
It's Marshall, the other half of Soju for two.
we're back together again.
Yay!
So this is because we have a new app so we can record at the same time, which I'm super happy about. And right now we want to talk about the baby because we have
Yes.
baby Soju for two here, Seraphina, and right now she's actually in the picture.
She's right here.
But Marcelin's talked about a few things, and I guess she'll start with the first topic. What do you want to talk about, Mar?
Yeah, well, I think that, for me, she's almost 7 weeks old, and it's been a very intense 7 weeks, and getting over delivery and settling into our lives. It's been wonderful, but there's a lot that's happened. So I guess we'll start with the birth story, and I'm sure some of you are interested in that. And it was definitely a crazy few weeks leading up to it, really. So I had a very happy pregnancy. Not a lot of things occurred. I was very active during the pregnancy, and it was really nice. And then in the last about week, we were going to our normal prenatal visits, and we went to our 39-week visit, and which is very close to the end because 40 weeks is full term. And we went into that visit, and they told us that she was breech. She had been transverse, which means she was in the correct position the entire time, and then in the last week before I was due, she turned breech, which means that her head was up by my chest, and her feet were down at the bottom. So it's the exact opposite position you want. But the entire time, we had felt her move, constantly during the pregnancy. So normally babies cannot turn that late or don't turn that late, but she was very active. So we found out that she was breech, and this was a real blow to us. We really wanted to have her naturally, and we found out that she was breech, and in the United States, they don't deliver breech babies very often, especially in normal medical hospitals, they won't deliver a breech baby. So they wouldn't deliver her breech, so we had to plan or schedule a C-section. And this was very hard for me, and I honestly spent that week, very upset.
I can attest to this. She was an emotional
Yeah,
wreck.
it was very difficult. And they told us, well, if there was a chance that she could flip, and if she flipped, we could potentially have her naturally. So we did literally absolutely everything we could have to try and get her to flip. I mean, I was upside down, laying against this wall, actually, because I'm sitting in our bed, with my feet up in order to get her to flip. I mean, we played loud music. I put heat on my bottom of my belly and ice on the top to get her to move. We did everything. I went to a chiropractor. We did, literally everything we could. And the only thing that we were waiting for us to try was called aversion, which is the most terrifying thing, which is when they actually flip the baby externally. And so when we got to the hospital the day of my C-section, which my scheduled C-section, they said they would try it. And Paul, my husband, got to watch them flip her upside down.
Oh my God.
And it worked. It's somewhat successful. It doesn't always work, but it did work for her. So we were thrilled. And at that point, we decided we were going to stay in the hospital. They were going to induce me, and we were going to see if we could have her naturally. So we started an 11-hour laboring process where we proceeded to, I had contractions, all that stuff, and we got to 6 centimeters. Dilated. And then I spent 6 hours at 6 centimeters dilated, which you have to be at 10 centimeters to deliver a baby. And she was staying at the exact same position. They have stations of progression for where the baby's moving down the birth canal, and she was kind of staying exactly where she was. So after 6 hours of that, and her not moving,
the entire time on the phone the whole time, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on?
The entire time we got to watch her heartbeat, and every time I had a contraction during pretty much for 3 hours at the end there, every time I would have a contraction, her heart rate would go down, and then it would go back up, and this was something that was terrifying for us, and kind of started to really freak us out, because we obviously don't want our daughter's heart rate to go down. So at around 7 in the morning, the next day, we spent a full 24 hours at the hospital at that point. We talked to the doctors, and they said that, I had spent 6 hours at 6 centimeters. We had to make a decision. So we decided to go in for a C-section. which was hard, but, I felt like at that point we had done everything we could. And we went in for the C-section. C-sections are terrifying. I could imagine if it was an emergency C-section, it would be a lot scarier, but, it wasn't an emergency when we went in. I was awake during the C-section. They gave me an epidural, and she was born, and it was amazing. We heard her cry. I was really kind of a little bit out of it, but my husband got to go, right away to look at her, and they showed her to me quickly, and then they took her out of the room to go do her normal baby stuff, and then my husband went with her, and after that, it was just a week-long blur of nursing and fatigue. It was pretty crazy, and I think that that's one of those things that first
week... You had to eat, because you hadn't eaten.
Yeah, I hadn't eaten. Well, what happened was Sunday night I had to stop eating in order to prepare for the scheduled C-section. But when we went in and the version worked, we labored for a whole day. And then I didn't have my C-section until Tuesday morning. Tuesday at 10 o'clock is when I went in for my C-section. So from Sunday to Tuesday, I hadn't eaten anything. They only give you ice chips. And then I didn't get to eat until Wednesday. So I went literally days without eating, and I was nursing. Yeah, so I started actually having hallucinations, which is pretty intense, from nursing nonstop. If you've ever nursed, I mean, I don't know if that's something anyone's ever interested in, but when you're nursing a newborn and you're not supplementing with formula, they have to nurse nonstop until they bring your milk in, because what's happening is she's not actually getting, the milk, she's getting colostrum, which isn't filling. So she would constantly be nursing, and she actually brought my milk in 2 days, which is pretty, really fast for a C-section baby, because normally they take them several days longer, because your body hasn't caught up, but she was nursing nonstop, so I actually was losing it a little bit, just with sleep deprivation. I honestly had 2 hours of sleep in probably 4 or 5 days. I mean, I was working on 0, so that was how I spent the first week, and it was super intense. She's been amazing, and I think I wish she's sleeping right now. She fell asleep after nursing. She's right here, but when she wakes up, we would definitely want to start showing her. She's at 7 weeks now. She's moving her head. She's control of her head. She's giggles. She stares at us. She smiles. She starts making little cooing sounds. She's doing so much, and it's really absolutely amazing. During that first, like I said, the first week was crazy. I think a lot of moms go through baby blues, and I definitely did. I got really kind of anxiety attack, and I never had that in my life. So I think that it's really important to know as a mom that, if you're ever going to have a baby, or if you are a mom, I give you so much credit, because it is really hard in those first couple of weeks, but stick with it, and it's that kind of thing where there's a lot going on, and you need to really, talk about it to other people and feel good about what's going on, in yourself. So it's an amazing experience, but totally exhausting.
Okay, well, that's, I think, it for this video. This video is just about the baby sort of delivery. But check out our other videos if you want to hear things about how Marsha is diapering the baby, breastfeeding, all those things. She's going to show you the room soon as well, the nursery, once it's in more of an organized state as opposed to the
crazy pandemonium.
Yeah, of having a newborn. So that's it for now, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye.